Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys I'm going to be profiling for you my Skull Servant deck. Now, the new Skull Servant card hasn't come over here to the TCG yet. That'll be coming out, I believe. I believe it's not an OCG exclusive, but we should be getting it in, I believe, February in the winter set after Invasion of Vengeance, I believe it is. So it is not out yet, but because it's October, because it's Halloween, and because I love playing this deck, and I've been playing this deck ever since Allure of Darkness came back to 3F, I've been replaying the deck because it's such a fun deck to play. If you love beatdown type of decks, you're going to love this deck. But it's still a very good deck even without that card coming out. That card literally makes the deck so much more better, but at the moment we don't have it, so I can't run it over here in the TCG. But without further ado, guys, I will get to the King of the Skull Servant deck profile because it is Halloween season, so I definitely want to profile this deck for you guys. If you got wondering where Ghost Tricks are going to be out, they should be out on the day of Halloween. So, first off, we got 3 King of the Skull Servants, guys. This guy's your beat stick. He's very easy to get to 3,000 attack. With the new support that's going to be coming out for him, it's very easy to get him up to 4,000 attack, to 3,000 to 4,000 attack, very easily, just like that. So, definitely run 3 King of the Skull Servants. Pretty much for every Skull Servant that's in the graveyard, he gains 1,000 attack. Next, you have your 3 White Mare. White Mare is a very good card, especially now that Allure of Darkness is at 3 of. So I'm going to read you White Mare's effect. When this card is in the graveyard, it is treated as a Skull Servant. That's one of your, it doesn't matter, but it's pretty much you pitch it to the graveyard, automatically your King of the Skull Servants will have 1,000 attack. But his other effects we care about are the other 2. Select one if you move from play Skull Servant Skull Servants or White Mares and return it to the graveyard. Sometimes you do that if you banish it off Allure of Darkness. The second effect is something I've always done because Allure of Darkness is at 3 now. Select one of your remove from play Lady of the Whites or King of the Skull Servants and special summon it. So some things what I'll do, quote unquote, is I'll have a White Mare or Lady of the White out on the field. Or, some other card like a Synchro monster. Maybe I normal summoned a Unizombie and did a Unizombie play that turn. And then say I have an Allure of Darkness and a Skull Servant in my hand. I'll be like, okay, I banish the King of the Skull Servants to the banish zone. Activate White Mare, bring that back. It is now at, what, 3,000 attack. And I got a Synchro monster on my field as well. So it's really nice because you don't have to worry about banishing your Kings because you can get them back with Allure of Darkness. So really good card. I like it as a 3 of now. That's Allure's at 3. You don't have to run it at 3. White Mare, you can run it at maybe a 2 of, but I'll leave that up to you. I like it as a 3 of. Next, you run your 3 Lady of the White. This pretty much gives protection for your spells against spells and traps for King of the Skull Servant. Believe me, don't underestimate that 2,200 booty. Sometimes I have set a first turn, then flipped her, and then they attack it, it flips up, then I'll normal summon the King of the Skull Servants and have a big beater on the field, depending upon what turn I'm going or what matchup is. She's a very good card. Some people like running her as a 2 of. I like her as a 3 of because she protects you against spells and traps, which are something that your opponent will try to out. You can this King of the Skull Servants because of like Dark Holes, Regekis. There's been a whole bunch of different things I've seen before. The main thing that Skull Servant is susceptible to is monster removal, like Castells and whatnot, but we run some traps to help deal with that in the deck. So it's very easy actually to get a second King of the Skull Servants out as well, which is really nice, especially with the new support. Next we run your 2 White Prince and your 2 Skull Servants. Now when the new support comes out, you'll definitely probably be running 3 Skull Servants and 3 White Mare. I have always wanted to run 2 and 2 as of right now, but when the new support comes out, I would definitely run 3 White Mare and 3 of the Skull Servants. I've been testing it online. It's been working out very well, but White Mare is very good, especially with Unizombie and Foolish Burial, because literally it helps me get to 2,000 attack right off the bat if I have a King of the Skull Servants. So, literally what you do is you send White Mare to the graveyard, and then when White Mare hits the graveyard, you can send a Skull Servant from your deck to the graveyard. Automatically, that's 2,000 attack bonus for your King of the Skull Servants right there. Also, if White Mare, you banish White Mare, and I think it's another King of the Skull Servant card, you can get a King of the Skull Servants from your graveyard to your deck. I'll read you that effect because I rarely use it, but you do use it. If you banish 2 Skull Servants and this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 King of the Skull Servants from your deck. This So that is one of the effects you do use, but you use it once in a while, but not once in a blue moon type of while. You use it, but not often. But mainly you just send the Skull Servant to the graveyard to get more beater attack. Sometimes you do banish him and 2 other Skull Servants, especially if you have ways of like Omega out on the board and you're able to bring things back. You sometimes use it that way. Next, I run the Shiranui engine in the deck. So 3 Shiranui Solitaire. This is pretty much like your Lone Fire Blossom for Skull Servants. Well, just for zombies in general. Usually you go for Unizombie, but sometimes you don't, depending upon plays and the setup on the board. But Shiranui Solitaire, definitely a very, 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 very good card, and you run 3 of it. Next up, we run our 3 Shiranui Spirit. If you don't know what Shiranui Spirits do, what Shiranui Spiritual Master does, I'll read it to you. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 Shiranui monster from your hand or graveyard except Shiranui Spirit Master, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is banished, you can target 1 face-up monster you control. Your opponent controls, destroy it, and you can only use the effect of once per turn. So you can pop things on the field, which is kind of nice. Usually, if you have, Solitaire in the graveyard, you go for Solitaire. Sometimes you go with the cute little play right now with Shiranui Smith. Now, I don't know if I'm going to keep the Shiranui engine in the deck necessarily when the new support comes out for the Skull Servants, but I definitely like it in the deck. It's definitely a very good engine to have, but I don't know if I'm going to keep all the Shiranui cards in the deck. But right now I do love it. The 2 Spiritual Master to pop things. The Smith is good for some little combo plays you can do. It's okay. Sometimes it's inconsistent, but it's still a good little play to do with Smith. But yeah. Next I run 1 Shiranui Spectral Sword Master. This card is pretty good actually. The cool thing I love doing is bringing out some of my old Synchro zombie masters that I freaking have had in my I've been playing in my Teledad deck for like the last 2 years, and that is Dark Revival King Hadass and Archfiend Zombie Skull Master. Now you may say, well, how the heck can you bring these guys out? Because of Plague Spreader. You have to have Plague Spreader to bring that. My friend, that is not always true. You can use Spiritual Sword for that. So I explain it to you so people understand that you can do it legally, because I'll read you Spiritual Shiranui Spectral Sword. If this card is in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can target 1 non-tuner zombie type monster in. You can target 1 non-tuner zombie type monster in your graveyard, banish it and both this card, and if you do, special summon 1 zombie type synchro monster from your extra deck, whose level equals the total of those 2 monsters you had. You can only use the effect of Shiranui Spectral Sword once per turn. So he's a level 2 tuner, which sometimes you do use him for that. But usually if you send him to the graveyard and you have another monster in the graveyard that's a non-tuner, you can bring out Dark Archfiend Skull Zombie, and you can also bring out Dark Ruler Hadass. Now Dark Ruler Hadass is kind of like a skill drain, as I'll read his effect to you. Negate the effects of all effect monsters destroyed by battle with zombie type monsters you control. So if you're going to send a deck that has a lot of graveyard effects, you can bring him out. Now Archfiend Zombie Skull, which is a very good card, helps you protect your King of the Skull Servants, because his effect states face-up zombie type monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. So he can help you protect your Skull Servant if it's trying to be destroyed by card effects, and your zombies just in general. But I like these 2 guys. They work with Spiritual Sword, but you don't have to run it. It's a nice little card to run in the deck that I do thoroughly enjoy running for that reason. Next, you run your 3 Unizombie, one of the best cards in the deck. Helps you go for synchro plays. It's literally a foolish burial. It's a great zombie card just in general for zombie support. Your 3 Unizombie, I shouldn't say much about this deck. It's a great card. Just a very good card. Next, you run your 3 Mizuki, my old secret ones I've had forever. Mizuki's a very good card. You banish it, bring back a card. If you guys don't know what Mizuki does, you can remove this card from the graveyard to special summon 1 zombie type monster from your graveyard. So pretty simple. It's been a good card in zombie decks ever since Zombie Teledad and everything back in the day. Very, very good card. You can send it to the graveyard very easily through Unizombie. Do a whole bunch of different combo plays with Mizuki. Very, very good card. The only knock I'll ever give Mizuki is he's an Earth, not a Dark. But that's neither here nor there. He's still a great card in my book. Next, we run 3 of Allure of Darkness because Allure of Darkness is back at 3 of. Like I said, you can do different combo plays with King of the Skull Servant because you don't have to worry about banishing him. But Allure of Darkness at 3 of, definitely a staple. You pretty much, your entire deck is pretty much dark. I mean, yes, you have fire and you have earth with Mizuki, but all your Skull Servants are dark, and you don't mind banishing them because you can bring them back through Omega or through other means, that is. So 3 Allure of Darkness is your draw power for the deck. Next, you run your 2 Twin Twister because you don't mind sending things to the graveyard. Now, you may say, should you run 3 Twin Twister? I'll let you decide that depending upon your meta. When I did take this to my locals one time, I did play it like in a tournament. One of my locals that I visited, I did used to main a second Twin Twister, a third Twin Twister, excuse me, in the side deck, but that's up to you. But it's a great card because you can just pitch things and get effects off of it and get your monsters in the graveyard quicker. So 2 Twin Twister. 1 Instant Fusion for Nodin plays and things you can do with that. 1 Foolish Burial, staple in any zombie deck. 1 Burial from a different dimension. You can bring back your banished zombies and stuff and your banished Skull Servants, put them back in the grave, gain more attack for King of the Skull Servants or whatever you have. Or reuse your Mizukis, it's up to you. 1 Upstart Goblin, more draw power for the deck. Doesn't hurt it. You don't mind giving your opponent 1,000 life points because literally King of the Skull Servants can bash them down with it. So definitely, I would say these 3 are definitely a staple. The Instant Fusion is up to you if you want to run it, or you could run a extra trap card, which I'll show you. So we have those monsters. Then I run 2 Shiranui style Swallow Slash. This is pretty much Icarus Attack, if you know what Icarus Attack does, for your zombie monsters, quote unquote. If you don't know what it does, it came out of earlier this year actually. Tribute 1 zombie type monster, then target 2 cards on the field, destroy them. Then banish 1 Shiranui monster from your deck. You can only active effective Shiranui style Swallow Slash once per turn. That once per turn is the reason I don't run it as a 3 of. I run it as a 2 of because it does kind of get cloggy. I've had it once in a blue moon. So I do like it as a 2 of. So you can decide, but it works very well with the Shiranui engine because the Shiranui engine just in general works well with zombie type decks at the moment. So, I mean, you can run it or not run it. It's up to you. But I definitely like it in the deck. And lastly, I run the Solemn Brigade. You could run, like I said, you could take the Instant Fusion out, make room for maybe another Omega if you own a second Omega. I only own 1 Omega because I'm a poor boy, I guess. Whatever, Omega's pretty expensive right now. And maybe cut that Instant Fusion out for a 3rd Solemn Strike to protect your King of the Skull Servants from effect-based monsters. Because once you get your King on the board, you want to play Protect the Castle, quote-unquote. Yes, you can still do synchro plays and different plays with your Unizombies and your Shiranuis, but you want to protect your King from monster effects, which are the main Achilles heel of King of the Skull Servants. So, 2 Solemn Strikes and a Warning for protection. Onto your extra deck now. Apologize for my wheezing. I'm just talking so fast right now. I'm not breathing. And I'm still getting over my cold I had last week. We have 1 Coral Dragon. Great card in the deck because you can just pitch things and get effects off in the grave. I love Coral Dragon in this deck. Then we run 1 Shiranui Shigamaga. I never can pronounce them. Sometimes you do go for him, but usually I go for Coral Dragon. But he is there in case you want to run him. You have 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. And then we have 1 Shiranui Shogunate, or the King of the Shoguns, or the King of the Dead as I call him. Pretty good card. You sometimes go for him, but usually I like going for Coral Dragon and Clearwing. He's there in case. But yeah, you got your cards right there. Next you run your, because I don't own, quote unquote, a second Omega, 1 Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, if you can't tell what that ghost rare is. And by the way, the other ghost rare was Clearwing Synchro Dragon, if you didn't know. And then you run 1 Ciphering Lord Omega. If you have a second one, run it in this deck for sure, but I only own 1. So, just 1. But those are your 2 level 8s you run that are pretty much generic. Then I run 1 Void Ogre Dragon. Very good card in this deck. 1 Belize of the Diabolical Dragons because you can make him and he's very good. 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon, because once in the blue moon you can make them. And 1 Trishula, because Trishula is love, Trishula is life, and you can make Trishula very easily in this deck. So there you go. For all your other synchros. Then I run 2 Exceed monsters, 1 Castel, and 1 Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. The reason I run the Exceed monsters is because once in a blue moon, you do go into a level 4 Exceed play, quote unquote. Not a lot of the times, but you do have the opportunity in the deck to sometimes for it to pop up and to happen. I mean, not often, but sometimes. So I do like running 2 good Exceed monsters, Castel and Dark Rebellion, just in case the situation does arise. Then you run your 1 Nodin, which is very useful. That's one of the reasons I run the Exceed monsters, is because sometimes Nodin can be used for synchro plays or for Exceed plays, depending upon the situation. So that's why I like running the Nodin for those reasons, and that's one of the reasons I run the 2 Exceed monsters. Then, like I said earlier, you have Archfiend, Zombie Skull, and Revive King Hadass, which are 2 cards you can run in the deck for your Shiranui card that I talked about earlier, Shiranui Spectral Sword. So that's the reason why you run Spectral Sword, guys. Whoop, is for those 2 cards. Sorry, my cards are flipping all over the place. I just put new sleeves on the deck, so they're kind of moving around. But yes, guys, that is the deck. I hope all of you guys enjoyed the deck profile. It's a very fun deck. I can't wait for the new support to come out necessarily, because it's going to be really fun to play with it. The deck hasn't changed that much. It won't change that much at all with the new set dropping. It's mainly going to change when the new Skull of Servant support drops, and then I'm going to have to play around with it, tinker with the deck again when that new stuff comes out. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed this. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you guys next time. And take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling. The deck, like I said, it's very straightforward. You go for King, you have the ability to go for a whole bunch of cool synchro plays, and if you love zombies, this deck is amazing. Because the zombies have always had good support. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, happy Halloween to all of you, and go King of the Skull Servants.